Hey folks, I'm Alex, the unabashed reader, and I thought I might do a part two of what's on my shelf. I think I did 10 books last time, so I'm going to do 10 books this time. I'm just going to pick books at random here because they're in series and trilogies. So I'm not going to go through like, a Game of Thrones, a Clash of Kings, a Storm of Swords. So I'm just going to pick 10 at random if they're different, and then just give them a brief description. Okie dokie. Okay, I'll start here. Very first one. If you watch my previous videos, you know I'm a big fan of Discworld. And this is Terry Pratchett. I blink on the screen. So this was published after Terry's death. And it's basically a collection of his short stories. So it's not just only Discworld, it's everything that he wrote. And I absolutely adore Terry Pratchett. I love his humour. It's that kind of dry British wit. I absolutely adore it. This book's got like is it Josh Kirby or I should know that, Paul Kirby's illustrations through it. Yeah, but it's a really good book. I wouldn't start with this one because you need to know the characters in Discworld before you jump into this. Oh, cool. Okie dokie. That's a bit of a strange one to be there. So the second book is Anthony Trollope. The way we live now. I absolutely adore Anthony Trollope, but this book's not as best books that it is. I prefer. I know this is cheating a bit, but what the hell? The Barchester Chronicle sets, absolutely amazing. Very, very humorous. I think out of all the Victorian, oh, not a lie. I was about to say out of all the Victorian authors, he's probably my favourite, but I do like Alexander Dumas. But he's probably my second favourite. By far better than Charles Dickens. It's not even close. But this book is about a shadowy financier comes to London, and it's basically all a tossing. Oh, is he genuine, or is he, or is he a bit of a rogue? That's the Melmots go to London basically. So humorous book. I know it's a bit of a chunker, but it's good. You should read it. Next book. Oh, here we go. Now we're talking. The Once and Future King. Very famous book. I had the brain fart then. I was like, the first book is The Sword and the Stone. And it ends with the Book of Merlin. Yeah, do we need to describe what this book is? It's about King Arthur, Camelot, Merlin. It's a really, really, really good. I adore this. So, I'll be on this book next. So, no, the book after. T.H. White, Tolkien, and Peake all came out at the same time, the 40s and 50s. So, but I think they're all completely different how they write the fantasies. And, it's tough. I probably prefer The Once and Future King over the book I'm going to get to and The Lord of the Rings. It is that good. The Book of Merlin, the last book in this, is fantastic read. You should read it. Okay, As You Wish. Can you guess what it is yet? It's The Princess Bride. I absolutely adore The Princess Bride. I do. I love the film, love the book. Fantastic. A lot of people don't know, spoilers, skip 10 seconds. The Andre the Giant's character, Fezzik, he dies in the book. So, dun dun dun. So, it follows the movie pretty closely, and the only thing that's not added is the epilogue at the end where Andre the Giant character dies. I think he saves Buttercup's and Wesley's child from falling down a cliff or something like that. But you should read it. It's a good book. Oh, here we go. This is what I was talking about before between Tolkien, Peake, and T.H. White. So this is the Gorman Gas trilogy. This is a really good book as well. If you don't know what the Gorman Gas trilogy, it's like it focuses around like a gothic castle, and it's very glum and depressive, and it's close. You can feel yourself there because he's that good of a writer. You can just feel the claustrophobia of this book. It's got one of the most fascinating villains in it. What's it? Steel Pike? I think it's Steel Pike. Yeah, it goes crazy. It's a really, really, really well written book. You won't put it down. It's really. I know it's a book written in the 1950s. It might be a bit of dry, but no. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, Melvin Peake died before the third volume was published, so it was. The first two were really good, and the third one is a bit of a letdown because it didn't have the author's final stamp of approval. Basically, his wife published it under his name, and it doesn't feel, it's not up to the first and second one standard. But you still should read it. It's a fantastic book. How many have we done here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Oh, the next one. Very, 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 very famous science fiction. How does the soundtrack on Doom go? Is what? Terrible, that boy. In my head I got close. It's like trying to describe the Lord of the Rings. What's the point now? Paul Atreides. It's about political control of a planet called Dune. It's about control of the spices, which basically is the currency of the galaxy or solar system. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's all that political backstabbing, but still a fantastic series. I've got all the Frank Herbert books, all 6 of them, yeah. I've got none of the Brian Herbert books because they're trash. I only read Frank when it comes to Dune. Yeah, but if you've not picked up it, it's good. It's a very much of a opera style science fiction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is where we need to get a bit of funky. Okay, there we go. Let's get this one. Bit of non-fiction for the mix. This is the Raven Master. There he is back there. So this is basically a short biography written by the Raven Master about the different ravens that they've had in the Tower of London. And he basically writes it like each raven, it's got its own personality and its own quirks. And it's just fascinating. I love books like this. I've got multiple of them all behind me. Yeah, utterly fascinating. You should read this. It's a short read, it's a quick read, and you get to know some of the quirky habits of some of the ravens. You know, some of them are a bit bitchy, some of them, you know, are a bit like crazy and mad. But yeah, you should read it. The Raven Master. That's 7, isn't it? Oh, here we go. Here we go. For those you Iron Maiden fans, this is Bruce Dickinson's autobiography. This one is, oh, I think, yeah, this is signed by Bruce Dickinson. He went to Waterstones, which is it's a book chain in the UK, and he wasn't very welcoming. I'll just say that. It's basically, you had a sticky note with your name in it. He didn't look up at you. He just didn't acknowledge it. Just grabbed your books, scribbled away. There you go. Next, you know. While Robin Hobb, the fantasy author, her books are up here. She was lovely when she came to Liverpool. Took time to talk to you, signed, and off you went. But not this bloke. And to be honest with you, this book isn't great. You won't find anything out in this book here that you can't Wikipedia, can't Google. It doesn't go in depth about much about anything, to be honest with you. The only reason I've kept it is because it's signed. So for you Iron Maiden fans, maybe, but for the rest, no, give that a miss. How many is that now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. We've done 8. Oh, I think I'm going to do a video about this in the future, but it's because it's been done time and time and time again, and it's just a weird time. This is the last book, isn't it? Yes, A Memory of Light. I got a bit of a love-hate relationship with this series. This is one of the fantasy books I picked up after I read Lord of the Rings in the 1990s, and I loved it. And I loved the first 5, 6, Crown of Swords, whatever. It's that book 6 or 7. I did up there somewhere. And then I think it's from Bath of Daggers. I can't remember. I think it's from book 7, and then book 10, Crossroads of Twilight, almost finished me off. Well, almost not finished this book because of Crossroads of Twilight is so garbage. But yeah, even this book, I was disappointed in how it ended. you know, because the chapter here about the last battle, it takes up about half the book. It's that big, and it's a bit of a chunker, as you can see. But if you want to read generic fantasy, Wheel of Time is the best of the Tolkien clones, basically. I might do a whole. I don't know, because it's done to death, isn't it? There's tons of videos lying about the Wheel of Time, so I don't know what I'll do it actually. So two for we're on the last one. Okay, what can I pick? Okie dokie, okie dokie. Well, because it's easy. This is book 3 of the series. I can't be bothered getting book 1 because it's buried right at the bottom. This is The Dark Tower by Stephen King, and this is The Wastelands. Yep. Again, I've got a love-hate relationship with Stephen King. I absolutely adored the first 4 books of this series. See, this is the problem. He wrote the first 4 books, I believe, in the 1980s. And then he picked up books 5, 6, and 7 much later on. So they've got like a different feeling to them. But if you don't know what The Dark Tower is, it's basically a Western kind of fantasy where it blends between our world and this fantasy world. It's all about a Roland the gunslinger, and he's got to reach the Dark Tower, and that's basically the gist of the story. And he meets all sorts of characters going there. That's tough. I would rank it up there with it being a good fantasy book. I've read tons of fantasy, I probably can make a top 100. This would definitely be in a top 100, but not as in the higher numbers as it once was, because especially if you've read this series, I didn't like book 7. I did not like how it ended at all. But this is me going off in tangents. But I did like the kind of like, is it the Wind Through the Keyhole? It's kind of like a prequel to the last 3 books. I actually thought that was really good. I thought that was fantastic, yeah. But if you've never read Stephen King and you like you should read it, because I think it's all right. It's a good book, and if you can get past the first book, I might as well slowly show you. Here we go. So this is the first book, The Gunslinger, and it is only small. So if you can get through this and you like the flavour of this series, then just pick up the rest of them, because it is pretty much like that until you get to book 5, 6, and 7, which is written at a later point, and you're like, this hasn't got the same feeling. And book 5 has got lightsabers and Doctor Doom. So yeah, I think that's 10 books for my shelf. I'm gonna cut it off from there. Okay, BookTube. See you later.